Hi there, my name is Mark, and we have just authenticated with Apple School Manager, and we are going to be creating an API account. The same workflow will be used for Apple Business Manager, so let's get started. In the sidebar, I'm going to navigate to the bottom left corner here and select this menu where I will select the first item, Preferences. The button that we're looking for is API, and it's located right above the Device Management Services header. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And we can see that we don't have any API accounts at the moment, so we can go ahead and click Get Started. We are prompted for an API account label. I am going to call this one YouTube, and I've actually spelt it incorrectly. We'll come back and fix that in just a moment. We get a little bit of a warning here about data access, and then we can just go ahead and create our account. We are prompted if we want to generate the private key now. And remember that private key is used to generate our public key. I'm going to choose later, and we'll come back and generate the private key in just a moment. So it's going ahead, creating our API account. We can see our name, which is misspelled here. And we also sort of get a prompt here to generate and download our private key. We could click on Generate Key. Now, before that, I'm just going to click into Manage the Account. And we can see here the API account name. If I click on this, we can actually go in here and edit it. So I could call this my YouTube account, and then go ahead and click Update. Once it's done updating, we're going to click on the back button and then see they are prompting us to generate that private key. I'll do it in just one moment. Beneath that, we see the client ID, and this is that universally unique identifier for this specific API account. And that allows us to change the account name that is sort of visible, but the actual ID remains constant. It is also prepended with either School API or Business API, and then created by the date and when it was modified. We are now going to click on Generate, and it's that same dialog that we saw before, generate the private key. So now I am going to click Generate and Download. So it's not only creating a private key, it is generating a public key as well. So we see that the private key has been downloaded, and you can only ever do this once per account. So I'm now going to go in and click Manage. And we see that we have a little bit more information now. We see that the private key has been downloaded, and we now have a new field called Key ID. And this is the universally unique identifier for our public key. This is going to be used along with a client ID when we create the client assertion. It's basically to enable us to go and fetch that public key for this specific API account. Now, if I click on private key, I'll notice that this API account key can only be downloaded once, so we get that warning. But we do have the option of revoking that private key, so I'm going to go ahead and click Revoke, and then we can click Revoke to confirm. And we should see, if we go back into Manage, that our key ID is also gone because, well, we've deleted the private key that generated it. Now we see where it says Revoked for the private key. We can click on that, and we have now the option to regenerate a new private key, generate and download. And when we go back to click on Manage, we see now that we are given a new key ID, new private key used to generate a new public key. I'm going to click Done, and we now have our API account ready to go. So if we no longer need this API account, I can just click the Delete button, and we can click Confirm to delete, and we are back to where we started. And that's how you create an Apple School Manager API account. My name is Mark, and thank you for watching.